Welcome to Mind Your Autistic Brain, and we are in Self-Care September. This is our second annual event because as late identified neurodistinct humans, self-care isn't for us like it is for everybody else. We are not slapping cucumber slices on our eyeballs. We are not going to get a massage, and we are not just chilling to Netflix, folks. There's a whole nother layer for self-care when it comes to our brains and bodies. This month, we're talking all things self-care from the inside out, from the UnVeiling Method, Burnout to Thriving journey. Because, guys, that's why I'm in year 3.5 of being burnout, shut down, and meltdown free for the first time in 40 years. And I'm sharing all this month about the amazing ways that I've gotten to this place. And I want to bring you on your journey to get here too. You deserve to thrive. And I have today sharing with us one of her amazing things, because journaling has been one of the biggest parts of my late identified journey, and it's part of my self-care from the inside out. I'd like to welcome Rachel Pavlovich. Did I get it right?
Yes, close enough. Yep.
Nope. Say it again. You say it. You do it better than me.
Pavlovich.
Pavlovich. Okay. It's late in the day, guys, and you know I'm an auditory processor, so it's just not sticking. And she's told me twice. I'm trying. So Rachel is here today, and she has a fantastic company. It is a subscription journal product, and she's based in Australia. She's shipping in Australia and to New Zealand now. And if you're any place else in the world, she is opening up for international shipping soon. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and get on her email list. But I want to share Rachel with you and what she's doing in the world, because journaling is such a big part of self-care. It's a big part of connecting who we are, sort of getting our thoughts out of our heads. And for those of us who are ADHD, and Rachel and I talked about this, you got thoughts going like 900 miles an hour, and sometimes you can't slow it down to grab it. Sometimes it's just like maybe a color represents it. Rachel, would you share with everybody a little bit about, like, tell them the name of your company, tell them what you do and how they can get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So the name of the company is Journaling for You. And I actually spelt it the American way. In Australia, we would put double L in journaling, but it didn't look nice in the logo. So it's Journaling for You with one L. And it is a subscription box where, because as you've so beautifully said, writing can be a block for many people. So creative journaling is journaling in a way that might include writing, but also could include anything else. And so each month I curate a box, and we have a theme, and you get a box of different items. And so I have 3 core pillars that I hit. I guess I know pillars is used for social media, but there's always a practical product, at least one. There's always a mood setting product, and then there's always lots of fun products. So the idea is that, so our first box was a tube of locally sourced, handmade herbal tea and a cookie. And so the idea was brew yourself a cup of tea, sit down with a cookie. And the practical was the journal itself, and then everything that came with it. So it might be, I'll give you a sneak peek because I'm posting them today. So September, they are getting colored pencils. It's spring garden themed. They're getting some washi tape, and they're getting some flower stickers, and they're getting a fine liner and some pencils and a whole lot of instructions on how to draw your own spring vegetables and spring flowers.
Oh my gosh, Rachel, that sounds like heaven. And I love washi tape. Oh my goodness. Like, I'm sitting here next to me. Okay. Here's confession time, guys. I'm going to hold up, for those of you who aren't watching. This is my bag of all my creative journaling supplies. And I have, in here, I have colored glue sticks, because I use these to make my my wax seals. Instead of wax, I use the glue, and that way they peel off and I can glue them, and I've got all kinds of different stamps. And I have washi tape. Here's my washi tape. Oh my gosh, all the different colored pencils and stuff and stickers. Ooh, I love what you're doing because that is such a beautiful way to express ourselves. Because, one of the things, because I have alexithymia. And
So
so
do I.
yeah, a lot of us do. And that's why I love what you do, because the products that you're giving, I love that it sets the mood. Like, I'm all about that. Like, lighting a candle that smells really good, or, having a cup of tea that sort of warms your hands and the smell sort of relaxes you. And, there's a lot of things like that that I love to do to sort of set that mood as I'm going to create or just express. And, what I love is it doesn't even have to be a really big thing, does it, Rachel? It can just be like 5 minutes in your day, and it's just take a deep breath and grab a pencil.
One of my big things is that journaling doesn't have to have rules. It doesn't have to have the rules that the neurotypical world likes to abide with, and that's fine. But for me, sitting down for half an hour and writing feels like torture. But picking up a pencil and a pen, drawing a flower, and then coloring over it is just... that's 5 minutes. And sometimes I might get stuck in it for longer, but absolutely 5 minutes is all it takes.
What's really nice is that I noticed in my journaling journey, like I may have started with just a drawing or a sketch, or maybe just, I love gouache. So instead of watercolor, I'll use gouache.
I love gouache as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I love this. So fun. So I would just, I keep like a little palette and they dry, and, I've got the wet ones, but I've got one of those watercolor brushes that holds the water, and you just squish it, and it gets wet, so you don't have to go get a jar and all this kind of stuff. And I'll run in the bathroom and just rinse it out. But sometimes I'll just grab that and I'll just doodle out a shape or a color. And I may not write anything on it then, but when it dries or I come back to it, and sometimes that color or that shape will inspire something that I do want to write. So then I'll grab, one of my pens, my colored pens, or, maybe just my pen and ink because I do calligraphy. And sometimes I'll just, write out a couple of words, or a sticker will inspire like a poem or a memory. Sometimes it'll unlock a memory. And a lot of the processing that we go through in late identified life is sort of those memories that we have not recalled, or that have seemed so far away, and we don't really take them all in. But sometimes just this pretty sticker will unlock a memory, like, oh wow, remember that time I was at the beach? I totally forgot about that. And what the sand felt like, on my toes, and the sound of the water. And then it's just like, oh, I remember what it was like to sit quietly in that moment. And that was 30 years ago. When was the last time I did that?
I love that so much. That is perfect. You've summed it up. And it's so funny because last night I was on a Zoom call with a girl that I've become friends with, and she runs weekends for women. And so she's interested in getting me to do some journaling packs for those weekends. And she was asking how they work. And I used that exact example. I said, a sticker is not just a sticker. If I put a sticker of a sandy beach with, say, a cocktail on it, and I just write, I'm making up the date here, but January 2019, that is a page of writing to me, because that evokes so much. It evokes memories, thoughts, smells, sounds. And exactly like you said, when was the last time I did that? How did it feel? And so I love that you use that exact example. A sticker is not a sticker.
Sticker is more than a sticker. It is not just paper color and sticky stuff on the back. It really isn't. It can unlock some beautiful things. And that's why I love what you're doing in the world. And I am a huge supporter of neurodivergent businesses. And I like to say neurodistinct. So I want to make sure that all of you have had the chance to meet Rachel and learn more about her journaling for you and her wonderful subscription box. And guys, she even has this fantastic promotion that she does every month, and you can get a mystery box. So you can sign up. So if maybe you don't want to dive into a subscription right off, or maybe you're like, I want it right now. I don't want to wait till October to get something. I want something right now. Then you can order this fantastic mystery box. And that's just wonderful bits and pieces, the same concept that Rachel uses in her subscription box, but you get it as a mystery surprise, which I kind of like the surprise myself. I'm like, ooh, I love it when they come knocking on the door and have a package and it's like, ooh, what's in here? I wonder.
And it's different for every mystery box as well. So I have one customer who wants to buy another mystery box in a couple of months. She said, I can't keep up with a monthly box. It's too much. But she says, I'm coming back for another mystery box in a couple of months, because I assured her that everything is different each box.
Oh, that is fantastic. I love that. I love that. And guys, that's one of the really beautiful things about journaling and about creative journaling is, number one, there's no pressure to do anything a certain way. This really is, it's you expressing yourself however works for you. But one of the beautiful aspects to creative journaling, especially in late identified life, is that it allows us to start connecting with ourselves. It allows us to start just being, sometimes even those uncomfortable feelings that we have, that we often have pushed down for decades and tried to not notice them because they are so uncomfortable. But sometimes it just allows us to sit with that uncomfortable feeling, and we can find peace and creativity and contentment in that same moment. So there's this paradox, and creative journaling really allows for that, because one of the beautiful things is that there is no wrong or right way to do it.
Absolutely. You're speaking my language. There is no right or wrong way. I did a reel recently and I didn't like the picture I'd painted. And I was like, just flip the page. And I saw one fantastic journaler on Instagram this week. And she said, you don't even have to flip the page, because if you don't like the look of it, just go over it. It's better that you like the look of what you've got in your journal. And I'm like, oh, that's another way of doing it as well.
Oh, I love that. You know what's really fun? I had this art instructor one time, and I had painted something and it looked great, and then I overworked it. You know that all of us, we have been at that place where you have overworked something to it's just like a muddy mess, right? Or it's just it's so junked up, it's chaotic, right? And she looked at me and she goes, grab the scissors, cut it up, use the shape and do something different.
Yes.
I have to tell you, that turned out to be one of the most liberating and fun things I've ever done. And it turned out to really create a super cool painting at the end, like sort of this collage painting. But sometimes it's just like, who says you have to just do it one way? I mean, cut it up, paint over it, there's use a whole bunch of stickers.
Yes. And one thing I didn't say is I put a lot of paper in the box as well. Sometimes I hand make the paper. Sometimes I don't. But that's a whole process for me as well. That's a whole creative process for me. And and you know what? Write on it, tear it up, cut it up, do whatever you want with it. I make funfetti most months. I call it funfetti because it's not just round. I make my own funfetti with a whole lot of different shapes and different materials. Usually a thick card, because I find paper can disintegrate, but I'm babbling now, but
I love it. You're speaking my language. Tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram too, because you have a fantastic Instagram channel, and she does reels, guys, and she even does like instructional tutorials for the different aspects of her subscription box. So where can they find you on Instagram, Rachel?
So on Instagram, you can find me at journalingforyou_. So all one word, journalingforyou_. Now,
is it FOR or is it the number 4?
Oh, it's FOR.
Fantastic.
So journaling with one L, 4 FORUYOU _
Fantastic. Well, because we have a lot of people that listen. So for those of you guys that are maybe you're driving or, you might be watching us on YouTube, I'll make sure there's a little pop-up down there and there's stuff in the show notes where you can go link up with Rachel and her amazing Journaling for You subscription box. And you might even want to check out that mystery box. Remember, part of self-care is not what it is for everyone else. For us, it's sometimes exploring new things. It's trying things that you've never done before and maybe doing them in a completely different way than the should way or the could way or the supposed to way. Because the wonderful thing about creative journaling and what the beautiful message she's spreading in the world is there is no right or wrong way to do it. It's just about how you want to express yourself and enjoy what you're doing in your moment. And I love that you set the mood in your box. Guys, make sure you go and get this. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me and being part of Self-Care September for Mind Your Autistic Brain.
Oh, thank you so much, Carole Jean. It's been an absolute pleasure. Absolute.
Thanks for joining us today. Isn't Rachel amazing? And I love what she's doing in the world. Journaling for You is a boutique creative journaling subscription box, and it's neurodivergent owned. I want to make sure that Mind Your Autistic Brain is sharing and supporting wonderful neurodivergent-led businesses, neurodistinct-led businesses. If you are joining us today, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of Self-Care September. This is our second annual event. And in this, I share the elements of the UnVeiling Method in the self-care plan from the inside out. One of the reasons why most late identified autistics are stuck in the chronic cycle burnout loop and not seeing a long-lasting restoration of energy, executive function, and emotional regulation is because they're trying to fix the problem from the outside. By unplugging from social media, hitting pause on daily tasks and chores, or trying to stim more or unmask. And before you know it, you found yourself right back in burnout a few weeks or months later after returning to your quote unquote life as usual. We're going to talk about how to get rid of all those problems and begin creating a self-care plan from the inside out that will give you energy and can even help you sleep like you've never experienced before. Balance in your daily energy management and a life that is no longer reactive and overwhelmed by exhaustion, but filled with mental clarity and joy. So if that interests you, keep on listening. My guest next week is the amazing Amy Cram. She is the founder of Finding Autism, and she and I are going to be talking about what self-care means to us as late identified autistics. So when we're talking about the self-care plan from the inside out, we're talking about the thought thermostat. We're talking about reflection work, energy management, where we're looking at what are our needs, what are the unmet needs, and what is our unique sensory profile. And we're talking about internal and external boundaries. So stick with us, join me this month, and learn more about some of the amazing neurodistinct owned businesses that are helping support us in the world. Rachel is just one of those. Be sure you go and check out her subscription box. And there's a special discount code in the show notes below so that you can get that extra little discount using the Mind Your Autistic Brain code. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next week with Amy Cram.